Rocking Chair Session. With Elisa Di Battista and Maria Teresa Barber.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, people. How are you?
Welcome back to Rocking Chair Session.
RCS Volume 20 with our special artist, Jen Clay. Thank you, Jen Clay, for driving down from Fort Lauderdale.
Thank you so much and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It was the first time, I have to tell our audience, that I was barely able to start the interview. I mean, we've had it that I'm not able to stop it, but I was barely able to start it because we were just chatting and chatting and chatting. So thank you guys for
we could have finally begin. But also, true story, the interview almost began with none of us even being in the studio this morning because we mistook AM for PM. I was at work. Me. Yes. Where were you,
Jen Clay
Maria?
was on her way to our studio at 8 a.m. in the morning.
Which I applaud
I had some coffee.
With traffic.
How far did you get?
To Hollywood. It was
okay.
fun.
Okay, you were
Thank God I was awake to kind of stop her. But, yeah.
School started last week for my daughter, so I've been like a little.
Yeah, I was in class with my second graders myself, so yeah.
Yeah, at least
awesome.
as a teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, I teach second through fifth right now.
That's so respectable.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
Anything's respectable.
Thank you. On behalf of all parents.
You have a day job and then your night job. You're an artist, so you do a bit of both for sure. You know, so that's exciting. So you've been getting back into the rhythm of things with the scheduling and stuff. You're happy to have more you time.
Yeah. Last week I didn't really know what to do with myself, and then and during the summer we were just like waking up whenever. We were waking up at like 1 p.m.
Wow. That is the best.
It's really bad.
And going to sleep like at 6, I hope.
Yeah,
yes,
bad.
that's the dream. You're living the dream, and I'm extremely envious of you right now.
But I don't know. Yeah.
So cool. So I guess to start us on your journey, Jen, where did you come from before you were in South Florida? Like, where do you hail from?
I'm trying to not to say anything smart. like my mother's
Be yourself. Be yourself.
From North Carolina, from this place called Hickory. A lot of people know it from down here. I didn't realize so many people would know about it because so many people go to Asheville up here. More than Charlotte, I would think about, but you tend to have to kind of like drive through.
I was
Hickory.
actually in Charlotte this spring because I went to art fields in Lake City.
That's awesome.
You know about art fields,
Yeah.
of course, right? Because that's like one of the bigger things in South Carolina. But
Yeah. And there's also a really great residency in South Carolina, and it's called something fun to say that I'm totally blanking. But you can live there for a year.
Oh, that's neat.
Leah Brown did it. But I knew about it from North Carolina. It was like the residency, because you can just live there for a year and have an apartment. And
That's pretty sweet.
like $300 a month. Like,
Oh, it's not too shabby. That's
wow,
yeah. But it's called,
it's gonna come to you.
So Hickory, that's kind of neat. And were you there most of your like childhood, or did you transplant elsewhere? Oh, that's
Nope,
neat.
that's it. That's totally it. The end.
The end. No, but then obviously, I mean, you're still not. you're still. We're not in Hickory. We're in South Florida.
Hickory.
So
How many? Pardon?
You could say Hickory.
I
want to hear you say it.
That's like what a German cock.
You're bringing in the German. I love it. Please repeat that.
Kickery. That's why I know.
Kickery.
But
like
it's not.
kickery. Our cockadoodle-doo is kickery in
How
Austrian,
many people live
apparently.
in Hickory?
I don't know. I was just asked this too, like last week, and I was like, I didn't count them. I don't know.
I'm sure you could Google it.
Is it like
Google
a city
now.
or is it like?
So there's like a cute downtown, and then a lot of urban sprawl where people live in the foothills of the mountains.
Like nomads?
It's kind of like people that like the mountains but didn't want to deal with that much snow. Those are my people forever. I'm like one of the first people in my family to move away. And
your whole family is still
my
there?
whole family's right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my parents are divorced and they live like I think 15 miles from each other. So there's Hickory, there's all these little towns, and they all have different names, but it all looks the same. It's just urban. It's just like sprawl. It's just like country sprawl. So there's even like the town of Hickory, the downtown, like people that live in the more country areas, like, oh man, the traffic there is crazy. And like when I would, it's just really funny, like, because I always just kept moving to bigger and bigger cities or different places, and
further and further away, kind of.
Yeah, and then they're always like, well, they used to call me more, I guess, when I was younger, when they cared more. and they would they'd be like, oh, there was a shoot. When I lived in Charlotte, my mom would be like, there was a shooting. I'm like, Charlotte's big. It's probably fine. But there was actually a shooting in front of my house one time when Miona, my daughter, was little.
Oh my God. But you didn't tell your parents that?
No, I didn't. Maybe they won't listen to this. But it was really funny. I mean, it wasn't funny, but there was a shooting and this guy got shot in his hand, but it was like in my driveway, pretty much. And I just had come home from work and I was taking a quick shower and I was gonna go like to the Y, because I used to go to the gym when I was younger. I don't do that anymore. But,
the things you do when you're young.
And the things you do when you're married. It's like, who needs to do that now? Right?
Yeah.
Yep. But I just was like annoyed and I couldn't get out because of the tape. I was just like pissed. I couldn't leave.
You're such a sinner.
And I wasn't very like sympathetic, but it was just like the neighborhood that we lived in. Like, it was really cool because like everyone like really liked me, and I guess like a lot of people were like selling drugs, and there was like a lot of like HUD houses, and like I don't know, like, and I was like I would weld in our carport and like curtain it off, and then like the neighbors would come see what I was doing and chat with me, and I'd be like, don't look at the arc. Like, it was just like a really funny time. And I would bike my daughter to kindergarten, and we could bike everywhere in Charlotte, which was nice. But my parents would call me all the time, be like, there was a shooting. I'm like, it's okay.
And I did my research, and you did your BFA in Charlotte.
Yeah.
In sculpture.
Yeah.
And then you
This is true.
And then you went on to do your MFA in Gainesville, and then you said at the University of Florida, is that right?
Yeah.
In sculpture as well. How was that?
Oh, it was good. I mean, I went there because it was a 3-year program, and it was a full ride.
Nice.
And they're really good. It like they also give fellowships, which is something they don't tell you about. So you can like negotiate for a fellowship, like to which you get paid like a little more. But I wanted to go to a 3-year program because I wanted to communicate better verbally and written. And I felt like it was going to take 3 years.
You knew that at the beginning it's going to take.
But also, like, a 3-year program means, like, you could have just one really weird year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think because of that 3-year program, I went from, like, public sculpture, like outdoor public sculpture, to video. And I needed that 3 years to do that transition, which I wasn't planning on. But it was a nice program because they let you be like interdisciplinary. And then there was also this science building. It wasn't a museum. It was where all the potential scientists went, I guess. And they would like, it was like a library of animals, and I can't think of like the right words, but the basement was invertebrates, and it had like a giant, like not a giant squid, but to me it was giant, and it was a squid in a barrel, and I got to touch its beak, and it was like, wah! And they had all these like what are the snail things in the ocean that are really beautiful?
Is it mollusks?
Eels.
Or
well, but there's also these other really
they're not
weird.
they're not squids, but they're is it the, oh god, I'm just doing this in class with my students.
but they're good anyway.
The fish, cuttlefish, that they kind of sort of look like they're in a shell, but they're not, or the ones that are actually nautilus?
Sea slugs. Sorry.
Okay, different.
Yeah. But those are also awesome, but they had like tons of them, and there was this like this French guy, and they were like diving in the Atlantic, and they were getting to name all of these because they were discovering them, and that was just like a few years ago. I mean, I guess it was like 4 years ago. But that was really neat because you could actually, as an artist, you could go over there and you could be like, hey, can I borrow some weird stuff? And they're like, sure, here you go. And it would be like specimen jars and stuff, and they didn't even care if we brought them back.
Whoa.
So it was really interdisciplinary.
Super neat.
So it was not just interdisciplinary that you were doing video in a sculpture department. You were also between
colleges.
the colleges, basically.
And there was a really big push for science and art, like a collaboration, and that's just awesome. Wow. So that was that, and then also I was able to take like behavioral analysis, only like a few courses, but it was great for my thesis defense, because I like just like cold hard facts with psychology, I guess. And then also like costume in the theater department, so I learned how to like sew proper and not just like keep breaking needles,
pushing it through.
Just like because of no patience. I've gotten some patience recently.
So Gainesville really are how do you call it?
Florida, University of Florida.
UF? Is that how you call it?
Oh yeah. Well, I guess it's like UFL, but
UFL.
But most people just say
that
UF.
really changed your artwork a lot and informed your artwork to the present day, because I can still see you sewing the costumes. I can kind of see creatures in the work that you're doing, or also like the video work that you're doing, but also the costumes that you're doing. So it really shifted your practice a lot.
Yeah,
those 3 years.
They give you at least. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I love sculpture, because for me, like, sculpture is any means to an end. Any, like, what are the best materials to convey your idea. So with sculpture, like, I mean, I feel like that includes everything for me, and you're still, access to a wood shop and a metal shop. And in other departments, it can sometimes be more limiting, but it's more focused on that particular skill. So, but yeah, the freedom, I think, was really important.
Yeah. I mean, I remember in the sculpture department in San Francisco, it's also where I had my sewing machine. It was actually from a sailboat, a sewing machine. I love that sewing machine. Yeah, I miss it still.
Did it rock or something?
No, but it was just like so heavy and so big, and it was like such an it was industrial but very compact.
Yeah.
I loved that machine, and it was in the sculpture department that I was sewing. So it's kind of, the sculpture has like this variety, and I mean, all the works that you do in clay or plastiline for your videos are basically sculptural too, right?
They are, but they're not like they're like quicker.
Yeah, they're not like stable pieces, because you
but
change them so quickly.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's artists like Natalie Durberg. She does claymation, and the Margulies collection has like her videos and her like large figurines, which I thought were really small, like your hand, but they seem a lot bigger. Or maybe she made them bigger to sell, I don't know, but they're like more upright, because I think she's filming from a different angle, because I usually film from above.
You film from above, yeah.
Which, because of, I don't know, gravity, I don't know. That's just how I like to do. I mean, for like stop motion.
For stop motion, that's usually what you do, right?
Yeah.
From above.
And growing up in Hickory, I wondered, you said you mostly did sculpture prior to UF doing video. Did you dabble in different like fine arts, like drawing, coloring, photographs?
Oh, like growing up?
Yeah, growing up in Hickory, like what did you, like, what was your medium?
I guess like I was always like a builder. Like I would take like clothing hangers and just like start making things, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I had like a compulsion to because I just had all this like energy, and like in that area there's like red clay. It's really hard to garden and to farm, even though a lot of my family is farmers. So it's just like this red clay, and I would dig it up and like hide things. But like as an artist growing up, I never really thought I would be an artist. I really just wanted to be like Indiana Jones or like a land pirate. and like throw knives
a land
outside.
Pirate?
Yeah, it made a lot of sense to me.
Well, because you didn't have like the water close by, so you had to be a land. That makes sense to me. Yeah.
I was like, there's all these houses. But that's like I don't know, like
Indiana Jones.
I wanted to be in it. He got to do whatever he wanted.
And did you have like a mentor like Indiana Jones did, like to show you the ways of like wire sculpting and playing with clay or digging stuff up, or was it more like self-intuitive, self-taught?
I guess it was like self-taught. I mean, like my brother sewed, and he would sew my stuffed animals when they broke.
Oh, nice.
And I remember being really little and him doing that. But my parents worked a lot. I mean, they were like middle income, probably like lower middle income, and they worked like a lot. And so my brother and I were left to our means to entertain ourselves sometimes. And I was really good at it. Like I just was super good at it. But yeah, I think we had a fun childhood.
So you entertained yourself and him too?
I am so good. Like, I was good at entertaining me. I'm a dork to him. So like, yeah, he's just like, good story, sis. Like, shut up. Yeah.
Like you little sibling.
Yeah, he's cooler than me.
What did he turn out to be? Is he an artist as well?
Or a pirate?
Actually, he's a stay-at-home dad right now, which is really cool. And his wife works, and they have 2 boys. And the youngest calls me Aunt Gems, and it's great. He's 3, and then their oldest, I think he's in 3rd grade. I think that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. But yeah, he still lives in Hickory, mm-hmm. which isn't bad. I just even from a young age, I just was wanting to travel. I just wanted to like travel. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you also do residencies? I'm not quite sure if I remember something with London. Is that true?
Oh yeah. So I my first one was at this we're here at the Bakehouse in Wassaic, New York, in like Upper New York. Mm-hmm. There's like this town. It's really awesome. It's a really small town where a lot of people from the city are like who are artists are like buying homes and like making their own little like art village, it seems like, and they're like kid friendly and they're like dog friendly, and there's like a guy with his pet rooster, and me and my daughter went for like a 2-week residency, and that was like our first like real residency, and that was really fun because I was homeschooling her then. And then the other one is a digital residency, and then they showed my work there. Mm-hmm. So that was really great also because just like being a parent, and like some residencies don't like allow kids. And like a month is a really like a high percentage of their like actual like life that they've existed so far.
Yeah.
But
you can't just drop them for a month, kind of.
Yeah. And I always wanted.
I'm leaving now for a residency.
Yeah. And I just always wanted to take her with me on those kind of residencies, and that was a great one for me. Because they had like these really sharp deadlines, and it made me start to create deadlines for myself rather than just working for someone else's deadline. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes if I don't have like a place to put work, I won't make work.
Yeah, I know. Like it's like having a deadline pushes you to make it because you know that it'll be shown or exhibited somewhere, versus having to do it on your own. It's like, well, where do I put it?
But on
storage side.
on the other side, and I realized that I was having that behavior, and so what I've wanted to do is to create my own venue that just like work existing on my website, and where you interact with it, how like that's the proper way that you interact with it, and then also like live streaming performances, which I'm hoping to start in October from my studio.
Wow.
But
On your website as well?
I think like I really like Periscope because like how like you can just look at the globe and like someone by chance will see it and they won't actually like categorize it as art. So then I think it's easier to defy expectation when it's like in a system, I guess.
And I think you play a lot also with this, like every day, especially in the videos where I feel like, your camera is like looking at the beach. Oh, which person are we gonna interview? And then oh, should we look left or right? And then okay, we're gonna look left. And then comes a person in a costume. And you're like, what the hell is it? And then covered in what I imagine to be boobs, like all over
like
in pink and pink.
boobs.
Yeah. And then okay, let's talk to this person that is covered in boobs in this costume. This poops character, the poops.
It's like boobs poop.
And then we're not just talking to him. No, we're going inside of him, and then we're gonna see everything from the inside of that boobs character, right? And I'm butchering your work. I'm sorry.
No,
I mean,
it's
that's
great.
what
I love
she
your
does.
your
So
description.
she's taking you from this regular beach day, Florida, palm trees, a couple of
Outdoorsy.
people. She's taking you from that to the inside of a boobs character. That's what Jen is doing, and it's just mind-boggling. It's so amazing, right? And I think that's would totally work well in an environment that would kind of everyone expects it to be like a normal thing, like a normal interaction or whatnot or something.
Yeah,
a concert or it's like.
But the weird thing about live streaming is like when I mess up and everything, it's live still.
Everything
So I've been
is
like
live.
a little like
Hesitant,
I've been
yeah.
like testing it and stuff and like figuring out how to do everything myself because I like to do it by myself. Yeah.
But the other thing that I really wanted to say, I mean, we're looking at a lot at artists' websites in order to prepare for interviews.
That's true.
But your website is really cool.
Oh, thank you.
And I don't know.
I'm just about to change it. I love websites. I like the authorship.
Did you make the website?
Yeah.
Wow, that's so good. I was looking at those GIFs and I was like, I want to make her preview
GIFs,
into
right?
a GIF. I had no idea how to.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to make it a GIF on Instagram. I found actually
You found out how to have
Oh, I do it. I just use.
I should have messaged you the video.
What is it like? It's like GIPHY thing.com. I don't know, like
Giphy or something.
Yeah. And I just made my website on Wix, but prior to that, it was like, what is that, Dreamweaver?
Yes.
And I like it more in Wix because I can change it the way I want it to. But the weird thing about because I like organizing in a weird way, and I like the authorship that you have on your website.
Yeah.
And I realize I want to write more about each project, and I want to share like everything. I used to have like an undergrad, like the sculpture professor, and it was like the first time I made a website, and he's like, you put too many photos, and then I was like, oh, I should have less. And now I'm like, fuck that, I want to have I'm gonna do what I want.
I'm finally grown up, I can do what I want.
I can do what I want. And I realized I had this like rule in my head from someone else, but I I don't know if you guys experience this, because I think a lot of like contemporary artists are interdisciplinary, mixed media and everything, and like menus are so difficult because like you're like, should I put it under performance or installation
Or
like
photos,
where
or-
like the project has all of those things in it.
Yeah.
And so like I'm like, it's been really getting on my nerve, like for like years. And so like I'll like make these little example menus all the time, and in my sketchbook I make like a little website where you like flip it up. Anyway,
From like
it's like, this is a paper website. It's like if there was like Armageddon and then you're trying to explain internet to kids with paper. It's like that.
I can totally see you do that. You can pull that off totally.
But like, so I'm like, oh, maybe the menu will have like just like the year and then the names of things, because I don't know.
Why categorize it, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that too. I feel always like unsatisfied with like because then you disconnect the work, and it's not like that. It's not like I make this Polaroid series over here and then I do my performances here. It's always like interconnected. It's always
They're
like
all a
in
part
a
of
way.
you. It's on the same website,
It's
yeah.
part of a story. It's just different parts, like different sides of a coin or something like that.
And a website, I think, can be as much as an experience for the viewer as a performance and as an installation, and so like I want to treat it like that going further, or at least certain pages. Where the page is like a project, and it's like maybe a little live, maybe a little interactive. As goals. Just some goals.
Website is always such a. But I can see in your website that you're treating it more as an artwork itself, or as a performance itself, and with this intention, I can feel your, kind of your spirit come through.
There's definite intention in your
There's
website.
like a
As soon
real
as you open it,
intention.
it has a certain persona and character.
It has a personality.
Which makes me think, even when you click on the different pages, like there's always like a little, either it's color or a drawing or a GIF, for example, that gives it your take on what it is that your work is. My question is like, how do you come up with not just those little innuendos, but like how do you come up with these characters that you formulate? Like where do they come from? You said you entertained yourself as a child, and then I'm like thinking, well, that requires imagination and creativity. How does that go forth into creating this world of different personalities and characters?
Well, all of those characters are like represent otherness. So I was just trying to make like an ambiguousness of these characters, because I think sometimes like, and I also was really influenced by like Sesame Street and like Yo Gabba Gabba. I love Yo Gabba Gabba. Yo Gabba Gabba looks so good. It's really good.
I was a Muppets girl myself too, like the Muppets and Sesame Street, and
yeah.
I know the Muppets.
Like actually, like Sesame Street kind of scares me even as a kid, and like Big Bird, I was always really afraid of Big Bird when he would do like the slow turn and look at you, and I'd be like, oh, I'd be like, oh no. But I don't like I use this kind of like, for me, this like attractiveness with like repulsion that I have for like certain things that are in like children's educational TV programs. So like glitchy claymation that's a little like feels a little weird. Like disembodied characters that kind of invoke like uncanniness because it's inanimate and then becoming animated. But I wanted them to be seemingly friendly.
Yeah.
And then to get bigger, like when they interacted with people. I really, like, I want it to waver between like being unsettling and comfortable or uncomfortable and
or friendly. Yeah, I had that. I think Gumby was the experience. Like I realized it was for kids because it was like colorful with the little horse, but it always kind of freaked me out secretly. Not so
It
secretly.
just seems like a hell, like someone's like you're watching.
Like, but it's squished and he's a different color. But then I kind of now that you mention it, that uncanny, that experience when I saw all the different gifts you had, there was something that attracted me to them, but then also through the movement there was something that repulsed me. So I was kind of like I like it. Oh my God, what is this? Oh, so I had that same experience.
Yeah,
with these
ambivalence.
characters. Yeah, like I was uncertain what to do.
Yeah,
And
it's
there
my
also-
favorite feeling.
Yeah, and there are parts of the videos also where you enter the body again. That's kind of like what creeps me out. You know, it's like you look at this kind of like really sweet, nice pinkish character, and all of a sudden you go down the throat, you know, and you see the lungs pumping, and like, oh yeah, that looks really nice in here. And I'm like, no, that does not look nice. You're inside the body. You're not supposed to be there. You know, it's kind of so.
It's like Magic School Bus experience when you go through like the body parts. And it
And
just
I'm like,
travels. You didn't have that in Austria, did you?
Do not go in there, you know, that's like not, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what creeps me out like the most. I think there's the body, the you know, that there's like a boundary in the body that I feel like, okay, so we're
Like it's private for you?
We're having a video where we look at people from the outside, you know, and then you make this move to the inside, and that is always what gets me.
Yeah.
Even if it's nice inside, you know.
Do you
and
seek to do that to like unsettle the viewer, but just like bring them in, kind of, sort of?
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
Like you want to like, I don't want to, not scare necessarily, but like get them off guard where they're unsure of what's happening, and then kind of sort of just show them your dream, like imagination, like what you're thinking of.
A couple of things. Like it's hard to defy expectations, and I think with video you can only do it once, and I think with performance you can do it like every time, maybe, like, you know, as a goal. I'm not saying I do that, I just want to. I probably don't do anything. It's just a goal. But I forgot what I was saying.
define
expectations.
Yeah. But like I guess I'm like kind of obsessed about this otherness, which is pretty much like not us, not human, and even that goes like with like taboos and things like that. And your body, like
There are lots of taboos on the body, yeah.
but it's also foreign. You don't know what your kidney looks like. You've never felt it, and I got kind of obsessed about that, about like wanting to see my insides. And
Around what age was this, like now in the
no,
present?
it was
or, like,
probably in grad school, and
all the scientists they got to you.
well, like actually, I was watching like French erotic cannibalism, like that, where they were like eroticizing
There is
cannibalism.
such a thing.
Yeah,
no.
but it was like this movie genre,
Santa Clarita Diet.
and it was like, I got obsessed with this, like I got obsessed with an idea. I wasn't actually having the idea, but like, what if you long to see your insides? And then I was like, well, I guess I want to see what my insides looked like. And then I went to the doctor, and like they wouldn't just like do an ultrasound or show me x-rays for the fun of it. So then I like faked being sick.
Jen.
But I was like,
Things we do for art. No,
I
continue.
remember I was in a critique, and it was like my friend had actually had he had a emergency appendectomy, and he let me film his scar, and he was like in the hospital for a really long time, and so I was making these videos from zooming into a scar and then it going into this imagined inside, and that kind of was before I made the other series that you're referring to, and that was kind of the beginning into like captured footage and collaging different kinds of video. But I just so there's this artist Junji Ito, and he does like I just found him like this year, not in person, just like his work, and he does these like otherness, these like supernatural stories. And he leaves out a big part of information that's usually kind of frustrating, but with other stories. But it makes you, not knowing is more terrifying. Not knowing why these bizarre things happen. And there's a story called Dissection Girl, and she keeps hiding in body bags, because she wants to get dissected. And then she finally dies of old age, and they dissect her, and then her insides are actually like alien and crazy looking. Like, anyway.
Bizarre.
I spoiled that for you guys.
No, it's okay. I probably won't find it.
But
I also Teresa's face. She's pink.
I mean, most people don't, like, whenever they see a performance of mine. And I guess I haven't done like a ton of performances. I only started performing after grad school. So like the past 3 years I've been doing.
You did one performance for the Girls Club collection?
Yeah. And
which was actually with the boobs character that I titled boobs character?
It wasn't with the well, I did do that one. Yeah. I did that at Girls Club, and then in June I did a bigger performance called Mirroring, where these creatures did show you their insides. But usually when people meet me, that was like I guess it was still kind of creepy, but most of the time people they'll just be like, I wasn't expecting that from you, because I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, but it's so fake. Well, people will see in the Polaroid that you're wearing a shirt that has a skull with hair on it. So I'm like, it's starting to all make sense to me now.
I had a friend move away to Austin, and she gave me some shirts, and this isn't, it's still her shirt, really, and I don't know.
And it says, like, you're interested in science and anatomy in the body.
Fad?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I think it's like trendy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess I miss her. And so
it's a skull but the skull has hair that is actually very
it's like if somebody removed the skin and looked at the insides, which is what you mentioned
and the ears
in your
are
work.
there.
I think it's like supposed to be like Mad TV, like Mad.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and so he has a really like apple face with freckles, and he looks like he's kind of like a ginger punk who's gonna like mess with you.
But he also looks like
he has like a goofy face, and it's like this comic book, and then it became like a
yeah. And comic book. I guess I'm curious, going forward, because you said you started sculpture, but it was outdoor public sculpture. So what did that look like if it wasn't really revealing what was inside, but it was just like this external, like it was about the shell, it was about the exterior and the outside and the outdoors?
I started doing sculpture. Like I started the sculpture program. So I got in love with metalworking when my daughter was like a baby, and I transferred. I went to like a community college first, and I did their welding program.
Neat.
And with all of these guys who were getting certified to become welders.
Cool.
And so I started a sculpture program, and there's this professor, Mark, and he's like, you make money from public sculpture. It's like he was really concerned about everyone making a living.
Nice.
And we would there was a light rail that was built, and like a place that like art goes here. Like those like
locations
public
for,
things,
like parks and like vendors and things.
And then they have like a little circle, and they're like, the art goes right there. and they had like open calls. I mean, yeah, like here. But so I was like, oh, okay, like I'll make a living. Maybe I don't have to teach. Not that teaching's like terrible. I just don't like grading. I realized at a young age. And so I've always made these ambiguous characters. I also did large scale ceramics of like stalactites and stalagmites, and I did casts of people and filled it full of like clear resin. Neat. So it looked like they were coming out, like pod people, which is kind of literal. but they were huge. I was just like obsessed with making big things. And I made concrete guys that you could sit on. Most of them were class projects because it's undergrad. And one of them still, I think, is at the university I went to, and I made this like metal centipede, and it was like really big in this one area where people kept smoking cigarettes. Like
how Alice in Wonderland of it.
But it was a little unsettling, and because like I was like, well, maybe it will freak them out at night.
To stop them smoking.
But it was just like they were doing it right at the door, and I guess I'm a little passive aggressive or something. But I knew that the professor rewarded some kind of intention. I was like, oh, I'll do this, and it's still there. And I never got like a permit or anything. I just was like put like long 2x4s and held it up, and then like had a hammer drill. And like I think it's still there. That's where it went.
I'll have to check.
You have a public sculpture.
But I have like a couple of more, and then like someone has like these big concrete guys that like have hair out of the concrete out of their ears, and you can like sit on them. And then I also welded all of these rings together so you could walk inside of it, and slumped glass in a kiln. And it's like snowing outside, and I have all this glass, so all the sharp pieces are coming in. I mean, it's not really but it's sharp. But people kept stealing the bottles that I'd slumped. Oh. But it was like really kind of funny.
They were stealing your artwork.
I started leaving these little notes for the people taking the bottles. Like, hey, how are you? Like, hope you have a good day. Enjoy the bottle. Like,
thanks for stealing my work.
Sure.
What a compliment.
But it was just like, I was just figuring out, I think like, I didn't have like a really strong grasp until I started making these hairy, like it was the first time I used like fabric, and I made these like headless kind of hairy monsters. Like if you've ever watched Bugs Bunny, the red guy, there was like one red guy and the mad scientist, and he like has like crazy fingernails and he chases. Like I think it was really kind of like based on that, and then they would be like 7 or 9 feet tall, and then I would put them on the side of the road. You kind of just do what you want, like in the country. I guess that's why people live out there.
Is that considered like the birthplace of like these wonder worlds you were making? You're like, I'm out here, there aren't a lot of restrictions, I could just like run free with my imagination and just
I don't know, I feel like now that we live in like a kind of small apartment, I feel like I probably didn't take as much
advantage of the space.
Yeah, advantage of it. But then I guess like I didn't realize it at the time, but I was interested in the photograph and people interacting with the piece. And I'm still kind of like I would, yeah, like the photograph was the piece and the people interacting with it.
Interacting, or also the reaction of the individual to the artwork?
Like both.
Yeah.
But that kind of set me on like where it was my mindset for grad school. I was still wanting to make these, like use very mundane non-spaces and make them like a hallucinatory experience. So just like where you like are like, am I really seeing that?
That bizarre, unsettling experience, you mentioned.
Yeah. So I would just try to find like a place, like even for the dome shape thing, I would try to find like a place where it's just like it's not supposed to be there. I'm like, put it there, just yeah. And I was really interested in like a pedestrian's point of view. Anyway, yeah.
Place cameras on people. I'm curious, because I've driven up to Gainesville, and Gainesville's at least minimum a 6-hour drive. up I-95 through the countryside. And so my question is, how did you make it down to South Florida? Why Miami? Why Fort Lauderdale? What brought you here?
So, well, I met my now husband in grad school, and we started grad school at the same time. And
survived. That's awesome.
Yeah, we talked about
We've
that.
spoken about grad school and
you go to grad school to find a partner. I mean, it just kind of happened. I wasn't like looking for him, but he was there, and he got a job. He did his master's in art and technology. And he was the first one to get a job offer. And he got a job at NSU Art Museum. And I guess he worked there for like maybe 2 years, something like that. I don't know anymore.
But that's what brought you down.
Yeah. So you moved down together because he had a job here.
Yeah.
And then I feel like Fort Lauderdale and Miami has been like a perfect spot for you because you've been doing so many amazing things. I mean, we met each other because you were doing the video festival.
Yeah, I feel like that night, I feel like I really let you down.
Oh no.
It was Sarah from Girls Club. Really, Sarah from Girls Club has done such amazing things for me. Like all the good things that have happened is in some way linked to Girls Club.
Mm-hmm. Girl power.
Yeah.
And we want to give a shout out to the Girls Club and Sarah Michelle Rupert, Francie Bishop Good, and then also Michelle Weinberg. Right?
Yeah.
Doing so many great things.
We hope to have you here soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Art Fallout. And I loved
Art Fallout, exactly.
Yeah, and that was Sarah's that was her baby that she'd been doing for multiple years, and what I did, and that was my first year living here, and I just started seeing out proposals to different places, and so she knew that we were interested. Sam and I were interested in outdoor projection. Mm-hmm. We like it. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, like that, she was like, well, you'll do this, but you'll also organize all of this. And then I realized I need a lot more help, like just to turn on stuff. And
she was all over the city. She had like 8 projections all over the city.
That's so neat, though.
I just moved to Miami, and then I had a projection at the NSU Museum.
Yeah,
you know, and it was like,
awesome.
That was a big deal for me, and I was like excited. I was
excited for you. I was excited too. It was in the paper, a few papers, I think. Like I got, like, that was a really great experience because I started bulking up my, like, who I'll send press releases to, and like, and even I realized like how much easier it is for like whoever's doing an event, a gallery or a nonprofit, when artists like do their own personal press release too and send it out. Like, I think like it just like woke my mind up a little bit.
Also to handle the public, to handle the papers, to handle, because then you moved on to do the Nerve Festival, also the Performance Festival. You have been doing it twice, right?
Yeah.
And that was a big production, and then and you moved on from that to also winning a big grant for your is that your nonprofit?
Yeah. So like not this night season.
Last night
season. I wrote a grant, and it was based on the outdoor projections, and that was for my husband. Had this project when I first met him, and he would talk about it all the time. He's like, interactive initiative. He's very altruistic, and he is, and that's even his work is about that. And so I made that a nonprofit, and then I applied for this project because a lot of times, like, you can not only like apply for the main organization, but you should apply for each, like project.
Yeah.
And and sometimes if you just, like, at least in my mind, it makes sense if you apply for the projects. Like, anyway, I went on a tangent.
But I mean, congratulations on winning that really big grant.
We're still
that's
matching
amazing.
it. We weren't expecting to get it.
Yeah.
I never applied before. I've always been told I'm really bad at writing. And then when I would go to all the meetings and I asked a lot of questions, which I think always builds like rapport, even though that those people might not be on the board.
On the board, yeah.
But I think for any grant, like even though like people don't do that down here, like I think like in Broward, like it shows a little bit. I don't know, but maybe that's my own superstition. I don't know. But but they were like, who wrote this grant? And I was like, I did. And they were like, you got a good grant writer. And I was like, I wrote it. And it was like the first
And
time.
so people have been telling you the wrong thing all the time.
Well, no. It's just
you're actually an amazing writer.
Well, like I have to do it a lot. Like I jump between things, and so I always have to fill in the bridge between the ideas, and I always feel like I have to back up everything.
Yeah.
Like, and then I do like too much research, and my husband's like, you're not even going to include this. But I'm like, well, if they ask a question, like, I don't know.
You want to be prepared.
Yeah, but then I'll forget when I'm there, and
it's hard.
It
is really that
I
whole
just want
thing.
to be confident in having confidence.
Yeah.
And like that's so hard, like just.
I totally understand.
But that is the thing about being an artist. You're not just doing like your artwork and growing your language or your artistic career. You also have to deal with your website. You have to deal with like press releases. You have to deal with grant writing. It's
defense.
You have to grow in all those different areas. So. Do you want to ask one final question before we let Jen also explain?
Well, no, I guess I want to go into that. Like, what projects do you have coming up towards? We have half the year left. I feel like we still have good time to get a lot of stuff done. And what do you have looking forward into 2018? So, like, things, shows, etc.
Yeah. So, like right now, I've been I've tried to, since the offsite series with Girls Club. In June, I tried to take like a little bit of break to work on like writing. But right now I have a flag project. It's like kind of experimental and ongoing at the Art and Culture Center at Hollywood. And it was originally for the fiber show.
It was the High flag, right? It was an amazing piece. Very
and they're putting up another one. They're taking it down Thursday and putting up another one that says, how's it going? This is kind of silly. Good. But it's also like, I hate that question because like, what the fuck is it? Like, what is it?
It's kind of like, how's the weather? Yeah.
But I really love that kind of narration when like someone's like in a TV show. But anyway, and then I'm gonna have like a table at SPF, which I've never sold things before. I've always like.
What's SPF?
I do not know. Could you please
it's a small press fair that Girls Club and IS Projects puts together.
Oh, because you made a little book, right?
Yeah, we made a book, which they'll be selling. Which is pretty cool. That's
amazing.
That's awesome.
IS Projects has they do it twice a year. I think the next artist is Brian Burton. And but they make an edition of 100 books for an artist that artist designs. It was really cool. I never thought about making a book, and then I was like, oh, a book experience, like wow. But but there I'm just because of the book. And people like bought it, and I'm like, holy crap! Like people buy things. They're like money. Like what? And so like I'm gonna have like a little small table there. I'm like really excited about it.
No, that's amazing. Congratulations.
But then in October 2018, I'll be doing an installation at Young and Art Museum, which will be like a video installation, an interactive video installation. I'm really excited about it.
That's
because the
amazing.
people
That's
will be
exciting.
like a part of the piece when they interact with it. Yeah.
That's fascinating. And what city is that in? Sorry.
It's in Davie.
Oh, Davie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like if you
Yeah, and it's
go there, you can go to IKEA over there, like
Sunrise.
get an ice cream.
Alrighty, girls, we're at the end of our time.
I can't believe it's already been 15
I want to
minutes.
ask my last question. So you've
Okay.
been sitting in a magical rocking chair,
Oh,
and it grants you 3 wishes.
okay,
You can wish for anything you want.
okay.
So what's
What would the 3 wishes
number
be?
1?
Oh, okay. I like. It's gonna be really dumb.
That's
There's
we're
no
hoping for
wrong
dumb,
answer.
Okay.
dumb wishes.
I want air conditioning, like in my studio.
AC in your
conditioning,
studio.
yeah, we
I
talked
think
about
that's every artist's dream is to have functional AC
Like
in their
that's like a
studio.
real game changer.
Universe, air
Gonna rub it
conditioning
for
in your
good luck.
studio. Number 2.
Oh, okay. I really want to own like a bunch of pugs. Like we have a puggle.
Just
But
the one.
I want to be able to
You need a clan.
Like, but that means we have to move. So this is
To a bigger space.
this is like a big wish because we have to move. We gotta have all the dogs. I want it to be a secret so I can surprise my husband. He'll cry. He'll be like, "That's not."
He can't listen
So
to this
that's
interview.
a
Don't
really
listen
big,
to this
that's
interview.
a big wish.
That's a big wish. And number
He's not
3?
allowed to listen to this.
I guess that like there could be like I don't know like free education, like free higher
Free higher learning and university level. Yes, please, universe. I have student loans.
I have a 12-year-old.
Universe.
That would be great. No student loans would be awesome.
All right.
I know. Thank you so much for coming out, Jen. You're
so much for
fun.
coming.
You really
Your
are.
wishes in the universe's
Yay.
horrors.
Yes, may it absorb everything. AC, Pug Army, and free higher education.
Yeah.
To those that deserve it, yeah. And what I mean, you know, you get it, you earn it, you work hard. Totally.
Thank you so much, Jen, for coming all the way down.
20th session.
20th session is over. Thank you guys all for listening in again.
Bye,
and
people.
thank you for our neighbors who have not been too loud today, and the rat who didn't show up after all.
He was listening.
But he was listening. He was listening. All right.
Our little
Bye, guys.
ratatouille.
We're going to be back next week with our new rockin' chair session.
21st with artist Lujan Kandria.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.